Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Inhumans, starring Anson Mount, Serinda Swan, Ken Leung, Amy Ickeraker, I don't know if I'm saying that right, please forgive me, Isabel Cornish, Ellen Waglam, excuse me for that, Iwan Rion, Sonia Balmores, and Henry Ian Cusick, directed by Chris Fisher, Roel Rain, Billy Gearhart, Nessa Hardiman, David Straighton, and Kevin Tankorion. Now, before I get into this, I got a few things I got to bring up. I did see this in IMAX when it was like the first two episodes, and I don't know if it was worth it on IMAX, to be honest with you. It was just, I wanted to get it out of the way, and I just wanted to see if I was bored with it. And the reason I'm doing this now instead of after Spider Man Homecoming and leading up to Thor Ragnarok was because, and it takes place between the two, is because I didn't know this was going to matter until now. And I'm not doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Agent Carter or anything that has like two or more seasons because that is just going to take too long. I'm only doing the mini series like this, WandaVision, and the upcoming Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But yeah, let's see how bad this thing is because I remember thinking it was bad at the time. So let's get into it. On planet Earth, a girl with yellow eyes gets chased by some government agents, and a green guy named Triton, that's inhuman, tries to save her until she's shot dead. And he jumps in the water from a long way in the city of Atalan. I don't know if I'm saying that right, which is located on Earth's moon. A lady with a ridiculous amount of red hair, named Medusa, who's the queen of, and her king Black Bolt live there, as they have a meeting with other Inhumans with like Karnak, Gorgon, and Maximus need to go to Earth, and these are not characters. These guys look like a sci-fi sitcom. And I'll talk about sitcom with WandaVision. The sets look like it was stolen from other movies. Crystal has a giant dog which looks absolutely fake, and the effects look really fake in a bad way. I'm glad this is a mini series because they wouldn't last a second season, and I don't really care for these characters. Like the official MCU movies does best. A kid aged 19 or 20 saw something Maximus in his future as snakes are all over him, and it gives me the impression Maximus is the bad guy of this thing. They learned Triton is dead, and I learned a little something about King Black Bolt, and that he is deaf or in some other way hearing impaired. Maximus wants to start a war with the humans, and to me, he's a ridiculous antagonist with no arc whatsoever, except he wants to start a war with the humans, which makes no sense. Maximus meets with an older man named while Auron betrays the older man, and Maximus becomes king because Black Bolt won't do anything about Triton's death and sends men to kill the other Inhumans to death, and they find their way to Earth, and the music in the background is a terrible choice. And what makes matters worse is Maximus cuts Medusa's hair off, and it felt like the wrong choice for a villain to judge someone based on their haircut. And I don't care how evil he is. He's the worst villain in the MCU, and all the Inhumans are in all, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Oahu, Hawaii. And I like the idea, but the cinematography made it look good, but it's not enough for me to like this show. We learn on the next episode they're on different locations in Oahu, Honolulu, and a beach. And Maximus and Auron trap Crystal and her giant teleporting dog in captivity, while Medusa goes on a tour bus to Honolulu, while Maximus tries to make Crystal tell him where the dog took them, and to honor him as king, and she says never, which is badly written dialogue, as this whole show. These scenes with Luis in California that's completely pointless unless she's involved later in the show. But for now, she's pointless in the show. Auron goes to Hawaii as she searches for the other Inhumans, and Medusa gets off the tour bus, and Black Bolt shoplifts the store that sells clothes and is almost arrested, and more cops chase after him and beat him down as he accidentally blows a cop car over and actually gets arrested for real. And Maximus continues the conversation between the kid and that he saw the future and predicts Maximus' death, which felt odd to me. Auron gets on the tour bus and kills the tour bus driver, and Medusa comes up to Auron and fights her and stabs her to death. While at the police station, Black Bolt gets his picture taken and is locked up in the police station, and Maximus has taken over the city of Adelan, and Auron gets back up and seeks revenge against Medusa, and that's when I saw this on IMAX ended. I never caught up with the rest of the show and wouldn't have if I knew this was a miniseries. Didn't have to review WandaVision and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier as part of the Avengers retrospective series. In Santa Barbara, California, Dr. Evan DeClan sees one of the Inhumans, and as he's on the way to Hawaii, he calls a prisoner. As back in Hawaii, Black Bolt thinks of Maximus' jealousy while sitting in prison, and Medusa asks an ATM for cash, and I thought, really? Is that how your powers are supposed to work? It's just like the first Thor, but in Hawaii, where they're all fish out of water. And it just felt like as dumb as the first Thor film, but done much worse. Maximus asks Crystal to make a statement in front of the city of Adelan, and she reluctantly agrees and sends Auron some guards and sends her a killer named Mortis, and sounds just like Ultron. And Karnak is captured by some villagers, and the prisoner, Dr. DeClan, wants to fight Black Bolt. And I'm already thinking this show is completely a ripoff. And Medusa goes inside a guarded house that's fancy and relaxes herself and steals some clothes to fit in the world as well as food, and sees Black Bolt is arrested in prison, and it felt preposterous. Black Bolt goes in the same cell as the prisoner, helps him with some advice about how to get out and to get back with his family. Meanwhile, Gorgon and his friends attack Auron, and his friends get hurt, and Gorgon stomps on the ground to stop Auron from killing them, and Carmack talks with a woman, and this is all laughable. Even if they're dramatic scenes, it's all laughable. Crystal reads a speech where he's king of no one, and she escapes as he gets a flashback where he learns he's not inhuman, but he is a human. And Crystal and the teleporting dog escape to where the others are at. Black Bolt gets in cahoots with by the prisoners for beating up the guards or the cops, and the cops beat up the guards beat up the prisoners while Black Bolt beats up some guards and gets out with the prisoner, who happens to have powers of the sun, as they get out of prison, and gets in the helicopter with Dr. DeClan. And Medusa pulls a gun out at Louise, which felt very convenient. Crystal and the dog get to Earth and gets ran over by a dirt bike, which was kind of sad but not affectionate in my opinion. I don't like this episode either. Medusa has Louise hostage and follow the helicopter, and Black Bolt is on and gets chased by the cops, and Medusa shoots them down and takes her to the beach and goes with her for an idea as they go back to Louise's hotel room and works on finding Black Bolt, and the cops follow them to the hotel and escape to eat something, which is a pointless scene, and finds Black Bolt in the middle of nowhere and takes off with Louise, and Medusa gives disrespect to Louise after helping her out when she finds her having an argument, and Medusa realizes she likes Louise while Crystal needs a doctor for her dog, and he has a vet friend that's a veterinarian. And they get to her place and find her coming home, and she fixes the dog and says it will take her a while to heal, and learns the high five, and their chemistry is pretty weak. Black Bolt and the prisoner get into the library Dr. Declan talked about in an early scene in this very episode, and promises Black Bolt to find his wife, and the audience realizes he's working for Maximus, which was telegraphed because of the character's beard, I guess. He's got followers, and how he looked show me he's evil. While Black Bolt searches for Medusa, he realizes he's going to get captured and knows something is up with Dr. Declan, and the prisoner realizes it's poison and gets encountered by Auron as the prisoner runs away with Mortis getting hit by Medusa, and Louise and Black Bolt and Medusa reunite and takes a girl working for Auron hostage, and Mortis is alive, but we move on to the next episode. Karnak clips some crops with Jen, and the leader of the three people, I'll say, doesn't trust him, as she takes him to the beach and goes in the water and gets his legs wet, but can't swim. And I don't think any of them can swim like Gorgon couldn't in an earlier scene, and fits in some tent as Jen and they kiss while the leader killed the other guy with them, and Gorgon is guilty about a dead body, and his other friends tell him and tells his friends about the city of Adelan, while Auron searches for them, and Maximus has the royal chair people in silver killed and holds one hostage, I mean. And this show is a bunch of crap that Marvel realized it failed at the box office and home viewing on the TV, and no wonder it didn't get any more seasons, it's so bad. On the island of Oahu, Karnak and Jen wake up the next day, and the leader points a gun and shoots Karnak and hits Jen as they run and hide. And the leader's boss calls and arrives early, which felt convenient, and his boss arrives wondering about his partner's body, and as soon as he finds out, he shoots the leader dead and tries to find Karnak and Jen, and Karnak kills Jen and asks her to stay very still as he gets the bullet out of her, and she has a way to stitch up the wound. And they go back to camp, and that was a bad choice, kind of, I guess. Karnak and Jen get back to camp, and Karnak has a bad feeling about it, and so do I. While Karnak randomly trains for battle as the boss man shows up with some assassins, and at night beats them up, then which killed me half to death and doesn't escape as he's knocked down by one of the assassins. Black Bolt and Medusa are sitting in a car together while Luis drives them and figures out a plan to stop Maximus, and lets Locus out of the trunk. That's her name, by the way. It's Locus. And she helps them out finding Karnak, and is contacted by Maximus and can't wait to fight him. And Locus tells the story of how her parents were banished from the kingdom, which was very poorly written. Crystal and the dog transport her to Dane, and Dane, that's the guy helping out. What's her name? Crystal? Yeah, Crystal. And to where he took Medusa, and she wins about how they could be anywhere by this point. Meanwhile, Gorgon is trying to find Karnak, and finds him and beats up the assassins and saves Jen and leaves the camp. And Maximus makes other Inhumans call them their king. And from the dialogue, their city feels like Maximus City, which is so bad. And Auron is healed mostly by herself, while Dr. Declan experiments on him and questions Maximus about the doctor staying alive, which are such bad choices. The prisoner escapes and gets down rather quickly as Black Bolt, Medusa, Karnak, Gorgon, and Jen and Louise and Locust find each other without Crystal, and Jen takes off from the picture, and Locust has been shot and tells them Crystal is on the island, and a silver-clothed man encountered by some Inhumans to stop Maximus, and all this is so silly. Come on, give me a break. Maximus dreams of the true king and their cousins killing them and hires some killers to go after Black Bolt, Medusa, Karnak, Gorgon, and Crystal, and arrive as Auron and soldiers, and there's a plot to kill Maximus rumor going around. Crystal and Dane antagonize the sister by burning the friend, by burning her cell phone and stare at a view that looks pretty, but the rest of the segment is boring. While Black Bolt, Medusa, Karnak, and Gorgon and Louise searches for Crystal, while Auron calls them and tries to meet up with them, and Black Bolt and Medusa split up with Karnak and Gorgon as Black Bolt and Medusa find Crystal, and Karnak and Gorgon try to save Dr. Declan and the prisoner, and they bump into a "Do Not Cross the Road" sign, and they turn around and encounter a lightning storm that Crystal made to signal them. And there's a lot of flashbacks of how they become the Inhumans. They are in the show. And it was driving me crazy to the point they didn't need to exist on the show. Karnak and Gorgon sneak around the laboratory as Gorgon breaks the power, and Karnak comes forward, and Auron doesn't shoot him, which is a terrible choice. And Karnak gets in the building and beats up a woman and talks Mortis down and beats him down for now, which was a silly piece of dialogue. And they free the prisoners, and Karnak and beats up the guards and frees Dr. Declan as Gorgon fights again with Auron, and she surrenders, which was rather hilarious, and Gorgon destroys the laboratory and knocks out Mortis, and Dane, in Crystal chat for the longest time, and Dane puts on the moves for Crystal as Black Bolt and Medusa finds them with Louise, and they get to the teleporting dog, and the cops show up because Audrey, I guess is the friend's name, calls them, and they teleport to the laboratory, and they learn Gorgon is dead and Karnak is the only survivor, and Maximus goes insane as he kills a friend and gets the others who think he's king are arrested, and the kid who is not king arrested, and the kid hails Maximus as king, and I don't know if I can sit through 2 more episodes of this crap, but I have to. Auran and her soldiers are chased by our heroes, and Dr. Declan learns why Maximus is doing what he's doing, and they bury Gorgon, and I didn't feel bad for his death. Karnak snaps Auron's neck, and Black Bolt wants to send a message to Maximus and turns the soldiers in, and they want to meet midday to have a word with Maximus, and at this point, Karnak wants vengeance against Maximus for Gorgon's death, and that piece of dialogue is so cringeworthy, and Medusa wants to do things the royal way, as they bring Dr. Declan with them, and they see something swim, and as it turns out, it's Triton, who ended up wounded, and they teleport back to Adeline in a laboratory and sends Triton to undermine the imposter. Meanwhile, Auron is awakened and talks with Maximus about his plan and arranges a funeral for Gorgon, as this is making me cringe out loud. Our heroes and Dr. Declan meet Maximus about training for Dr. Declan for their throne, and Maximus accepts, and after he gets the doctor back, he declines that offer because he's evil. Just made me angry at this point. Karnak betrays our heroes and for Gorgon's life reasons and tries to resurrect them with Auron, which makes no sense. Meanwhile, Crystal and Mrs. Dane and wants to go back to Earth as her choice, and I'll just laugh my booty. And I just laugh my booty off as it's bad writing in a corny way. Triton witnesses Maximus leaving the kingdom and gets in and beats up the guards and reaches Maximus and fistfights him with him anyways and brings him back to the room our heroes were hiding in. And Dr. Declan sees Gorgon is alive, and this ending pissed me off. And I'm glad there's one more episode left. Medusa, Crystal, and Triton steps in with Black Bolt, and Maximus, as Black Bolt, wants to tell Maximus about another enemy they have, and Black Bolt and Triton takes Maximus with them and taunts Maximus taunts Black Bolt about the past, and Maximus wanted to be king, and Black Bolt didn't, which is kind of a stupid evil plan. Black Bolt beats up some Atalan's guards, and Maximus escapes as they are the dumbest heroes ever. Maximus turns the city against Black Bolt and the royal king. Karnak is captured while Medusa goes to Luis and asks Luis's boss to talk to the big boss. And Gorgon goes crazy for being resurrected and kills Dr. Declan and is trapped with Karnak. And Gorgon recognizes Karnak as an ally and still goes crazy and breaks out of a circle prison and almost attacks Triton, but Karnak calms them down as Black Bolt and sees Gorgon is alive and brings back Medusa, and she suggests to have a conversation with Karnak to never be continued at a later time. And I just didn't care anymore. Medusa admits she's not a good friend to Maximus, and she tries to help him not to destroy Atalan, and she wants him to give up the throne, and he doesn't agree. She throws the potion to the wall, and she lets Auron kill Maximus. Black Bolt, Medusa, Crystal, and tell everybody to do things the positive way in which Maximus didn't, and Medusa takes the other Inhumans to Earth, while the enemy attacks on, and Crystal sends the Atalans to Earth, while Black Bolt needs to resolve the attack, and Maximus dies in the attack. The others go bye bye to Atalan, and Black Bolt confronts Maximus and talks about their family drama, as Black Bolt has killed their family dog long ago, and punches Maximus and takes him to their hiding spot and imprisons him, and destroys the building by talking, and waves come out of his mouth. That's pretty much his power, which is a terrible power. And Atalan self-destructs, and Black Bolt leaves to go to Earth as their city is destroyed, and the Inhumans are saved, and they are royal heroes and the royal heroes say welcome home to Earth, as there's hope to make friends and there's a future. And I said out loud, barf. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 2.5 out of 10. I don't care for any of these characters, and every episode is bad. Thank God there isn't a season 2, as the writing is so silly and cringeworthy and awful, and I can't stand it. This is perhaps the worst Marvel Cinematic Universe show ever, and just stick with the ones that are with the Avengers in it, like WandaVision and the upcoming Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki, and that's a TV series I'm not going to do. But yeah, stay away from this. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and I will be back within a day or two for WandaVision. And until then, Avengers Assemble!